Governments deny it. Militaries deny it. Even the mainstream media denies it. But they are here and they have been here for a very long time. The Mutual UFO Network has been on the front lines uncovering the truth since 1969. And now we're sharing that truth with you. Welcome to MUFON What's Up with your hosts, Katie Paige, Shane Hurd, and Tara Diulus. Exclusively on the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. Wondering what's up? So are we.
What's up, everybody? It is Tuesday night. Happy New Year to everybody. It's been a little while, so I hope the year's starting out great for all of you out there. You are listening to MUFON What's Up Radio, the show that says discovery starts with curiosity, and curiosity starts with MUFON. Brought to you by kgradb.com. I hope you go to their website and check out all their great content. You know, we have a special guest to start off the new year this year, Derrel Sims, the alien hunter. Last time we had Derrel on, weird things happened to the broadcast. And I hope, knock on wood, knock on something, that it doesn't happen again. But I want to go ahead and bring in Tara and Derrel right away. So they're together out there in Phoenix, Arizona. Hi, Tara Diulus and Derrel Sims. Welcome to the show. Hope you guys are starting off the new year well.
Yeah. Hi, Katie. What's up?
Hey, what's up? Not a whole lot. I did want to mention, though, really quickly to our listeners out there, the big Contact in the Desert. You know, you could go to their website now and buy early bird tickets. They're in phase 2 of the early bird tickets, so it's not too late to get in on those deals. It goes from May 30th to June 3rd out there in California. So we hope to see you out there at Contact in the Desert. Any other news? What do you have? Do you have a meme to kick us off, Tara?
Oh, yeah, we can do that. Well, yes, today's meme, it shows the Tin Man walking forlorn down the yellow path, right? Unbeknownst to him, his back is full of Cupid's arrows. Well, hovering above him in a UFO is an alien holding Cupid's quill, right? And flying off to the side, Cupid says, "Oh, just forget it. There's no getting through to this guy. He has no heart." You get it?
I get it. But, you know, E.T. and the Tin Man would make a good pair, right? Sort of like AI. He's used to those robotic grays.
Yes.
A match made in heaven. It's not too early to start thinking about Valentine's Day, is it?
No, it's not. And in fact, it's going to be here before you know it, or Christmas will be here before you know it. It seems that it's already flying by. So Valentine's Day on Etsy, there's a huge assortment of new and vintage Valentines just for those special aliens in your life that you can't believe exist, right? And, you know, no one wants to be abducted, but I'll go with you no matter where you go, right?
Aww.
And you're out of this world, Valentine. Those are fun, these little retro ones. Let's omit the space between us, dear Valentine.
That's
How
so
fun.
cool.
These are from like the 50s and 60s. This is a newer one, You're Out of This World. That's kind of cool. And You've Invaded My Heart. I think that's a real fun one too. We've got Come Down to Earth and Be My Valentine. And let's plan it so we can be Valentines. I love his little alien ears there. And I Choose You in
Oh, that one's pretty.
Isn't it sweet? Very,
could
very
frame that one. I like that.
It's very sweet, a little watercolor. And right from the start, Valentine, I could see only you. And of course, we have Ripley and Jonesy. And on Valentine's Day, no one can hear you scream.
Now it's taken a turn.
Okay, we'll go back to the nice little Valentine.
Okay, that's cute again. Thank you.
Well, just found on Etsy where you can find anything in this world almost. Fun little Valentine things. So, but also, I wanted to give a shout out to our friends at paranormalpops.com, where you can find this Bigfoot Valentine's Day card. And it's 4 by 6 inches of solid chocolate, and it can be custom ordered in any combination of white chocolate, milk chocolate, or salted caramel. Yum. Or perhaps you prefer a vanilla flavored Valentine alien pop. So cute. Visit our friends at paranormalpops.com because they are out of this world, and they have out of this world chocolate. It's really delicious.
Yummy. All right. So, Tara, did you dive into the Mars program? I want to say, too, it's the new year. And I know if you go to MUFON.com, they have finally the Project Aquarius and Project Mars. You can sign up to get entry into those magical doors with all this historical data. And it's well worth the money to go in and have access to all that. So, what do we have in the Mars files today?
Well, I paid my $50, and I have my library card for that Project Aquarius. So now I can go
very
in.
cool.
So it's really fun, and I encourage everybody to do that. But we do have the Mars archives, and this is something that Katie was heading the project on, and I worked on with about another dozen people. We worked really hard, and today's case took place in La Jolla, California, on June 27th, 1981. How beautiful, La Jolla!
Right.
About 7:30 p.m., a man was sitting in his yard and looked up and noticed an object in the sky about 200 to 300 feet above him. And he said it was like the size of a small car, about 10 to 15 feet in diameter and about 4 feet high. And he said it looked like a hamburger. It had two halves, and the top half was white and the bottom was dark black or blue. And it had a 6-inch belt that went around the perimeter of the object and protruded out from the object about 6 inches as well. And the RP said he could not tell if the object was metal or plastic, but it appeared to be man-made. So he went indoors and he observed the object with his telescope for about 4 to 5 minutes as it moved from south to southwest. And it eventually ran out of sight. So this is the side view of the object. There's kind of the little hamburger. This is like a top view. I'm not sure that he saw that. Maybe if that's what
I was going to ask you, like, how did he see the top view?
Yeah, it's kind of, extrapolated perhaps, but it did appear in the La Jolla Light, an article about the event. And this file contains only the report and not the investigation, but it is kind of an interesting little tidbit of information in La Jolla. You never know, flying hamburgers, where you're going to see them.
Right.
So very interesting.
Yeah, maybe the ETs and the flying hamburgers come down and bring those pancakes I like to eat. Isn't it true that the Project Aquarius has access, or since you have your library card, of different drawings that witnesses have done? Have you poked around in there?
No, I haven't yet, and I'm not sure the drawings are available right now, but I think there will be one room that has the drawings, and that's what I'm interested in as an artist. I'm interested in seeing and it's really beautiful to see how people who aren't really artists draw, because they're not censoring themselves or changing what they're doing. They're just drawing, and it's very revealing at times. So
yeah, it's very therapeutic to do that as well.
Yes. Yeah, it is. I encourage everybody to do that. But again, these are the Mars archives, and go to MUFON.com to get your library card, because all of these will be loaded up in it as well. So there we go.
Oh, well, I have a question for the two of you.
Yes.
Have you been keeping up on what's going on there at that Florida mall, and what do you make of it?
Derrel, maybe you can talk to that. I kind of saw a little bit, but I haven't been keeping up.
I saw a little bit, but not enough that it would interest me in any big way. I heard the conspiracy part of it, where obviously the government was involved and did all kinds of weird stuff. But that's generally the answer whenever you can explain things. But the fact is that shadow beings do exist, whatever they are, and whether they were in Miami at the mall or not, I don't know. I've never seen shadow beings at a mall, but I've seen them in other locations, other places, usually in a home or outside, that sort of thing. So I have no comment beyond that. I don't know. It's an unknown at this point for me.
Yeah, right. What I found compelling, and just like the two of you, I've done minimal research on this, and it's really hard to dig unless you have, original footage in hand, and you can go and actually talk to and speak to people who witness these things, and all that stuff. It needs to be done investigated properly. So from a distance, it's really hard to make a judgment call. But what's fascinating is somebody was telling me that if you look at the helicopter footage, and these helicopters really have super great cameras, right? Very clear. So when you're looking down, you see all these dozens upon dozens upon dozens. I don't even know how many police cars were out there, but a lot. And they're very clear. You can even see like the lines painted on the road. The buildings are very clear. Everything's in clear focus except for that anomalous, whatever the heck it is, So I think that's kind of interesting. And wasn't it reported to be extremely tall, like this large shadow being like something out of the gates of hell? I don't know. Maybe it's the end days. I don't know, but kind of compelling. I just think it's fascinating that just within this last year, we had the Peru excitement, all that stuff happening there, and then the Nevada alien in the backyard there. And it just seems like these events, we're seeing them more and more frequently with these large groups that are sort of up in arms and panicking in that. So it makes me scratch my head a little bit like, what's going on with all this stuff? So interesting news. And of course, things going on continuously with Congress and Grush. And now the person that he basically confided is taking his place, and they're trying to go through the proper channels for security clearance and that. So it'll be really cool to see what comes out of this process. And I know, Derrel, you've been in this field, since 1960?
Yeah, I'm 25 years old right now. So
25.
Yeah, my birthday was last night, and we passed the 100 mark already.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday, Derrel! You just had a birthday.
Well, what was funny about the birthday? Our friends were there, a little private birthday party, and my wife made this cake, and the cake shows an alien in bed with his mouth real wide, like scared. And it shows this creature underneath with arms like an octopus reaching up, trying to get him. And it says, aliens check every night before they go to bed to see if Derrel's underneath their bed.
I bet that's true.
She loves doing stuff like that.
That's funny.
That is true. Well, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday from everybody at KGRA and all our listeners and everything. Was this a milestone birthday, Derrel?
Yeah,
you said 20, 21.
I turned 19
that
night, and so it's a shocker for everybody.
These young whippersnappers, I tell you.
I'm 76 today, as of yesterday. Yes.
Oh. Well, happy birthday.
Yeah,
that's amazing. And so you have seen through, the years of research, what's happening now has happened before. And actually, before we kind of dig in with you, did we cover everything, Tara? I feel like we got through this really fast. I know we're missing Shane. A shout out to Shane Hurd. His family's down with COVID. So we usually do our bit with Shane. So I hope you guys feel better, Shane, and your family, and get over that nasty COVID virus as quickly as possible. But I feel like we just breeze through.
Well, we don't have a case of the week this week, so
no, we don't.
We have a lot to talk about there.
All right. Well, let me read Derrel's bio,
okay.
And this before we start digging in with this. Derrel discovered the alien implant phenomenon in 1960. So 19, my butt. Okay. He later pioneered research protocols such as alien fluorescence. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay. And he orchestrated the first public surgeries and testing of alleged implants from the human body. In fact, don't you have the biggest collection of removed implants?
I do.
Derrel. Yeah, look at that.
27 surgical interventions so far.
27.
How many? 27. And from all different parts of the body, I'm assuming.
We did. And as a matter of fact, we did one surgery in New Delhi, India.
Oh,
and the last one we've done here back in the U.S. We have several cases around the world, from Brazil to the UK, actually. So
wow.
just need funding to do it, but we're ready to go.
Where is the most common place for aliens to put an implant?
The most reported implantation seems to occur in the nasal passage and also in hand or some other part of the body like that. But we've literally found, if that's what they are, We found these objects all over the body, inside the brain. On my book, it shows one literally in the brain itself. And I mean, that's taken from a lady's x-ray in Brazil. And back in the 1990s, before we did the first surgery, she found that she had a car accident. And what happened is she hit her chin on the dashboard. And so they took her to a dentist, and he x-rayed from the bottom up just to make sure jaw was okay, teeth were all right. And he says, what in the world is that lifesaver sized object in your brain?
Lifesaver. Were you able to get it removed? I wouldn't think it would be worth the risk.
Again, I didn't know her at the time,
Yeah.
and we're best friends now. But the object moved 2 years later to the other hemisphere.
Wild.
And
I
then
wonder if they're
later
studying the
disappeared
different.
on top of that.
Oh my goodness.
So it's a very amazing case. Now she's got one in her arm the size of a long elongated pill, and she wants me to fly to Brazil and do the hypnotic anesthesia, bring my surgeons there, which we have a cardiovascular surgeon in the country that could do that. And if that happens, we'll do the whole thing. She said, no, I will certainly donate the object to you and your research.
Oh, wow.
And she is a contactee, not an abductee. So she thinks they're here to save the planet, fix the ozone hole and all that. And so we're pretty different in our viewpoints. But she, like I said, is a very dear friend of mine, and I have a lot of respect for her.
Wow, that's fascinating, because you have to wonder if it changed hemispheres of the brain, if they're studying both sides. And then the fact that it just disappears. I mean, do you assume then that she was re-abducted and they removed it, or can it just vanish somehow? Or I don't know. So many questions.
Well, she sent me a bunch of pictures. They do these night vigils all the time, and it's a lot of fun. And they got beautiful camera equipment. And she's showing me these beautiful pictures of these UFO phenomena. And I said, I have to ask a question, and this is going to sting a little bit. She said, oh, okay. And I said, you took these pictures. I said, did any of you have missing time during the course of these pictures? And she looked at me puzzled and said, yes. I said, young lady, you're filming your phenomena as it's coming towards you or leaving.
That's fascinating. Wow. So it also says in here that you have skin samples and DNA samples and possible forensics from glass walls and etc. and anomalous artifacts from that. So that's incredible. You are the first abduction researcher to initiate reaction from alien via post-hypnotic suggestions installed behind the abductee subconscious. So we definitely want to talk about that. You developed an extensive questionnaire for abductees and contactees and experiencers with analytical techniques, including symbolic profiling drawings, handwriting analysis, neuro linguistic programming, NLP, and hypnotherapy. So quite a lot of extensive work you've done, Derrel, and I want to thank you for all the work you've done for all of us, because I think that tangible physical evidence is where we need to head.
Well, I totally agree. I think that evidence is, of course, being an ex-police officer and a private investigator for over 30 years in the state of Texas, evidence is really important. I mean,
right.
One thing for me to stand there and tell you it's a story about an alien or whatever, but it's another thing to have evidence of that event that supports the case very, very well.
Right.
And evidence, though, that's a hard thing to gather, isn't it? When you on these type of cases, it's really difficult. So, and you have your implants, but
the reason, Tara, it's harder than you imagine. Let me explain why.
Yeah.
When I did a presentation in Manchester, England, just a while back, one of the things I showed them was I said, all of you came here to watch an implant presentation. I said, that's going to be a very short presentation. I did showed them a number of different implants we removed and so on, because these are fascinating. I said, let me tell you what you don't know about implants. And of course, everybody's like, well, we already know everything. You don't. I said, what you think the implant is, the most important thing of the implantation process is the object inside the biological containment.
Right.
I said, what if it wasn't?
Oh.
Well, it has to be. Well, what if it wasn't? I said, the biology is more important than any part of implantation.
The stuff around it?
Yeah, the biology around it. And the only person that actually, I've told 250 surgeons this, there you go.
Oh,
That
it looks like an almond or something, like a.
Well, it's almond flavored.
Gross.
Ew. You
Aliens have
didn't lick
their
it.
own flavor.
Don't lick the implants.
Don't do that.
No.
You don't want to do that. We're going to stay away from that. But the
don't take your own implant out of your nose.
Yeah, that would not be good. The wonderful thing about what I told them was, I said, the biology is more important than anything. As they said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, most people are not implanted. Implants are very rare.
Okay.
I said, why are the alien messing with you and doing only implants for certain people? I said, what you don't understand, the biology is more important than the object.
Okay.
And I said, you are the biology. That's the point. Doesn't matter if you're physically implanted with an object. The fact is, I said, the next level of implantation I'll tell you about is something I refer to as the apps.
Okay.
Aliens have apps.
Yeah.
Apps. Like
I said, the
phone
first
apps?
app I want to talk to you about is abductees destroy, hide, or ignore their own evidence in most cases. That's why it's almost impossible to find evidence, because you will destroy it, ignore it, or hide your own evidence. I mean, I could tell you 100 stories about that. My point is simply this: regardless of whether you're not an implantee, you saw a UFO, you were near a UFO, you were involved in some way or another, you automatically have an app downloaded, and that is the primary one. You hide, destroy, or ignore your own evidence. Most people, if they have fluorescence, for instance, they find that, they tell me about it 2, 3, 4, 6 months after the fact, after it's already gone. I said, that's the point. And I said, that's just one. The rest of my presentation was on the other apps that are downloaded into abductees, different kinds of apps.
When you say apps, Derrel, it makes me think of those things that we scan on our phones, like a code.
That's right.
Like we take a picture.
They just stamp one in you.
And so do these things then eventually dissolve? I mean, once you're tracked?
No, they think of them more as an invisible implant, something on your consciousness.
I gotcha.
Like, in other words, one guy, he said, I removed this object that I had that was in my skin, and I was so upset with it, I threw it in the commode and I flushed it. Then I realized, what have I done? He jumped in the commode with both hands and tried to catch it. And he said, I can't believe I did that. I lost it. And I said, hide, ignore, or destroy your own evidence. I said, you're not telling me anything I don't know.
I've done that. I had pictures that I took of just taking off the rim, and there was an anomalous ball, metal ball, just in the sky. I had 3 pictures of it, and
click.
I deleted them all.
Gone.
I saw it.
Do you think ET programs people to do that, to destroy their own evidence? It's like,
yes.
Okay.
It is so prevalent that when you, case in point, when I was in Manchester, an elderly gentleman came there with his daughter. She was about 18. And he said, I'd like for you to talk to my daughter. She wants to talk to you. And I said, okay. And she showed me these marks, very interesting markings on her. And I said, fascinating stuff. I said, I want to give you a gift. And I gave her a little fluorescent black light. And I said, I want you to start checking yourself. She said, okay. And I said, most abductees, if not all, and I think all, but I said, have this app called Ignore, Destroy, or Hide Your Own Evidence. She said, well, what does that mean? I said, I want you to go get an x-ray for me tomorrow in this area. She looks at me and says, no.
Because she's ignoring you.
I said, why are you here asking me, the alien hunter, these big questions, wasting my time? I've got people lined up. And you say, what? She said, I'm not going to do it. And her dad says, you got to, he told you to do that. I said, it doesn't make, you don't understand. It doesn't work like that. Hide, destroy, or ignore their own evidence. Most of them will do that.
How can that be broken?
It's difficult, but with practice, with focus, your own training, you can break that app. I can tell you stories in my own life. Other people, it doesn't matter. But anyway, the rest of the presentation was on the other apps that were downloaded, and not all of them, but there are different apps, and I listed about 30 or so that were there, and people were just like stunned. Said, well, that's just a behavior I have. I said, where did the behavior come from?
Mm-hmm.
My DNA.
It happened.
Right. Speaking of DNA,
how did you acquire obsessive compulsive disorder all of a sudden?
Right.
How did you? Why do you do certain things all of a sudden after an event? Why?
Have you ever removed implants from somebody within the same family?
I can't believe you asked that question. Okay, yeah. No, I'm teasing you, of course.
She's so
And as a matter of fact, the answer is no.
Okay.
Have there been implants in the same family? In my opinion, yes, but I can't prove that. A case of, this is really interesting. A gentleman who's a banker from another state contacted me and said, I don't believe in UFOs or any of that. And I said, okay, great, good. Why are you calling me? It's because my father told us all many years ago he had an implant in his calf. And I said, okay. He said, well, he passed away recently. And I said, okay. And he said, we're best friends with the mortician. I said, and? He said, we said, could you open up Dad's calf, his calf, and check that? And they said, okay. He said, anyway, we thought we'd send it to you. Here it is. So that was an implant that was removed by a mortician of a deceased individual who claimed he had an implant for many years. None of his family believed him. None of them.
Wow.
Said, here it is. We're sending it to you. Please study it, analyze it, do whatever you need to do. And anyway, I was very fascinated with the story because I said, tell me about your daddy. Give me his history. And he did. And it was almost as if I was reading my own dad's biography.
Was he in the military?
No.
No. Okay. What was, why do you think him?
Well, okay. First of all, the alien doesn't need the military guy to do anything. I mean, that's kind of a misnomer. Whatever they want to know about your military, they probably already know most of it anyway.
Yeah.
Especially after Roswell. I mean, they kind of got us on that one. It was an intelligence operation, and we got snookered big time. But anyway, the reason I was fascinated with his case was because my dad had an injury in his knee, in that leg, and claimed that it was due to like an agave plant, the pointed, real sharp point that stuck him in the knee. And I said, Daddy, I said, that doesn't make any sense. That happened when we were hunting. He said, yes. I said, well, we're hunting up in New Mexico, up in the mountains. Those plants are like at the edge of the desert and in the desert.
Right.
They're not up in the mountains.
Not higher altitudes. Yeah.
So how did you get an agave plant object, a needle stuck under your kneecap? How does that happen?
Ouch.
I said, Daddy, whatever's in there isn't an agave plant. And it didn't happen from an agave plant. It happened when you were alone and I was somewhere else hunting and you were alone. It's called missing time.
Right.
But anyway, the man's story was almost identical to my dad's story. It was absolutely amazing. I wished we could have looked at my dad's under his knee and found out what the thing was. I would have been amazed to see that.
What did that implant look like when they removed it? And did it have any special properties? And do you still have it? And I have so many questions. I'll stop talking now.
She's asking you about the implant. Okay. They said okay, I can tell you.
Is that the CIA?
Okay.
Yeah, somebody like that.
Somebody like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some alphabet soup guy. So we have a pathologist that's doing a study on it right now.
Oh,
And
cool.
it's biological. We know that. I've had a metallurgist look at it. It's not. It's biologic. There's no question about that. What is it and how did it get there and where did it come from? Nobody has a clue other than the man's story. In his view, the aliens did that to him, and he was cognizant of it and told his relatives that all along. And until he died, they didn't believe a word of what he said until the mortician said, "Here it is." It's about the size of a big thumb, and inside his the end of, half of your thumb from the joint to the end of your thumb, and it's skin colored, so it would be very difficult to see or notice. And it's really a perfect area to hide something like that. And nobody knows what it is at this point. Biologically, we're going to have an answer to it, yes.
right.
But what is it really? That's going to be another story, in my opinion.
Well, Derrel, all of these implants, and I'll just show a few pictures here, but they're very tiny. And I mean, I guess it has to do with our technology, of course, right? And how can something this small, I mean, what do we think it's used for? Because I always thought they were tracking devices or something.
Yeah.
But, I don't even know if that's it. I mean, there's so little, some of these things. So I think that's what's confusing to me. What does the research say they're being used for?
Well, and Stan Friedman was on a radio program with me one day in Roswell, and the radio guy said, "Well, what are these alien implants or whatever they are?" And Stan looked over me and said, "I don't know what they are." He said, "It's not my area." He said, "That's Derrel's area." And he said, "Maybe they're transponders." And I said, "Well, I'll give you a hint. They're not transponders. They're not tracking devices."
Really? That's what I always assumed also.
Well, again, these are assumptions because we don't know.
Right.
So as an example, if it were, let's take that the tracking device. Let's use that one first.
Right. Yeah.
Why is it not a tracking device in your opinion, Derrel? Because they already know where you're at.
Right.
How did they find you from day one?
Oh, that's logical.
Not likely. It's in your family lineage. They know who you are, et cetera, et cetera. So they got you. I mean, they already know who you are. That's not even that's a moot point.
Got your address. Okay.
So they already
Makes
knew.
sense.
They probably found you with a neurological signature, which is consistent in your family lineage.
Like your aura or something, you mean?
Well, neurological signature.
Okay.
Something based on your neurology. And that to me would make more sense than anyway. It's not a tracking device. They already know where you're at. So the big question for a lot of people is, what are these things?
Yeah.
Who did that? You know, was it the CIA? Was it Mossad? Was it the FBI? Who did that?
Was it you, Derrel?
You got him, Terry. You got him right here on MUFON. What's up?
Talking to you.
So the question is, what are they and who did them? Well, the alien ones, obviously, the alien did them. But the real issue to me is what are they and what's their purpose, their design. Some of the things we do have a sense of is that some of them seem to, at least from the neurological studies done on certain abductees, there appears to be alterations in the neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, potassium, and so on. And so what does that mean? Well, serotonin and dopamine, when used as one psychopharmacologist told me, Derrel, if what you're saying is true, if anybody has access to your dopamine and serotonin, they decide whether you're happy, whether you're sad, glad, suicidal, or whatever. You don't have that choice. They do.
Same with your cortisol?
She's asking about cortisol.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's your energy, and that's your strength in life, somewhat. Sort of.
Okay. We're messing with you. We're having fun. So there are other side effects that seem to be consistent with different types of. Let's look at those little gold spheres up there real quick. I'm sending these little gold spheres. I'm having a conversation right now with an individual that's putting me in touch with Avi Loeb. Avi Loeb is he was spoken at MUFON, I think, recently, at one of the big conferences. And he's a scientist at Harvard who studied the the object that came into our solar system from way out wherever. And all the other scientists were telling him, you're crazy, you're loco, you're nuts. That's a meteorite. And he said, no, it's not.
Right.
I love to listen to people who do know versus people who think they know. They said it's meteorite. It's got to be a meteorite. Why? Because you don't know anything else that's out there. So it has to be a meteorite. He said, first of all, meteorites travel at a certain speed. He said this was much faster than any meteorite. And it came into our solar system, was not captured by our solar system, and then it left the solar system. He said that is intelligent design in my view.
It made a right-hand turn or something.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
We can't do that. So Avi Loeb found a meteorite, heard about a meteorite that crashed in the South Seas and the South Pacific. And he went and looked for some gold spheres. They're about 1,000 meters down, and they got a ship dredging the bottom of the water, and they're pulling up golden spheres. And I've got I should have presented these to you, but I've got pictures of them. And these gold spheres you see here are not them. These came from a little girl's nose. She was wide awake when the event occurred, and they put 4 of these little gold spheres in her nasal passage on 2 different occasions. And we've had them studied at York University in Toronto. And the metallurgist that saw these told me, he said, well, I can replicate that in a lab. There's not an alien implant. I said, I didn't say it was anything. I asked you to tell me what is that. And he later called me privately and said, I can't replicate these in the lab. 51% silver and 49% gold. What do you think they did? What are these for? And I said, well, if you look at the objects carefully under great magnification, what you will see is that they look like little tiny moons, and there's little craters all over them. So why would there be that? And I said, well, let's use the word medication, which I don't think is the correct term here, but let's suppose the word medication were coated around one of these. At the smoothest surface, you would get the least but quickest effect from that medication. And from the craters, you'd get the longer lasting aspect of it. But in a short period of time, because these are the size of pinheads, you would sneeze.
Oh, so they're smaller than a BB? Because they look like BBs, but they're smaller than BBs.
They're the size of pinheads.
Pinheads. Wow.
Pinheads. That's how small they are.
And they're trying to find the ones at the bottom of the ocean that same size?
And they're much bigger. Okay. They're bigger, but they're about the size of BBs. But they're a different makeup of these. But I wanted to talk to Dr. Avi Loeb and let him know that we have some spheres as well. And would you like to study these, look at them, and so on, give us some of your ideas on it. So I thought he might like to have something that actually did come from an alien, not what he thought might have been related to an alien in the bottom of the water.
Right. And Dr. Gary Nolan is very much into this kind of forensic information and study as well. So
he is. He's up for a Nobel laureate right now, and done some phenomenally good work. I like him. He's very credible. Yes. The reason I like him is because he's not intimidated, especially by the CIA, which I used to belong to. The reason I like him is because he started testifying on the behalf of pilots and others that were injured in these UAP events. Some of them died as a result of those contact events, believe it or not.
Right.
And others were injured permanently. They have lesions on their brain. And they said, well, why did the CIA send you all these reports and lesions and MRIs? And he said, because I'm the best out there studying this phenomena. Right. And if you want me to do it, he said, well, You had to sign all kinds of stuff. He said, no, that's what they told me I had to sign. I didn't.
He is fearless. He is fearless, and he is
I don't have to do it, and I'm not going. So if you want me to do it, here are my rules. My rules
Yeah.
aren't. I'm not going to. In fact, he went to court and testified on the behalf of these soldiers and others who were injured or
Awesome.
relatives of people who died from these
Good.
UAP events, who are involved in these nuclear carriers or airplanes flying up against these UAPs and so on. And he said, somebody has to defend him. Somebody's got to tell the truth. He said, so I did, and I'm testifying against the CIA.
Right. The community's lucky to have him for sure. I want to ask you a question though. I mean, you've implied anyway that you may not believe that all these implants are extraterrestrial in nature. Could our own government be tagging and implanting people? And if so, why?
Well, it's an interesting statement. In 1994, I was in John Muir Medical Hospital. The doctors there asked me to do a presentation on medical complications of alleged human alien contact, specifically implants. And I did this presentation for this AMA-sponsored paid program for continuing education for these doctors. And I said, there's two views that are going to come out real quickly about this. I said, we've not done any surgeries, but we do have x-rays. I said, if these objects are not alien, and I said, it's going to be easy to tell quickly. And they said, how's that? And I said, well, I said, this is what you had up here, that other picture. That's technology. That's an x-ray of technology. And technology is crystal clear. You can tell it's technology. There's no question about it. That is not alien. That is technology. So my point is that if anything we pull out of people is actual human technology, it's going to show. Okay. I said, so for those of you who are quite skeptical, which is going to be a bunch of you in this room, I'm going to give you 5 things that I'm going to tell you about the alien implant if it's true when we do our first surgery. The reason I'm telling you this is so you can use it against me and prove that I'm 100% wrong and probably a fraud. So the first thing is there's in the alien implant, there'll be no discernible sign of technology. None.
Okay.
And so the implant itself isn't considered technology.
It just isn't.
It's just
nobody knows what it is.
Okay.
We're still studying.
Okay, interesting.
So, but the biology to me is more important than the object itself, and I'll get into that in a moment. But basically, what we're looking at here, when I told them this, I said the first thing is there'll be no discernible technology in the alien implant. That's number one. If we do find technology, it's going to be the CIA, the Mossad, some intelligence agency, a government corporation, or whatever. But it's going to be human, and it's going to be clear.
So that is going on. That's what you're telling me.
I don't know that. We have not found any of that yet. If we do,
haven't. Okay.
You'll hear it first from me, because it's illegal, criminal, and ought to be exposed.
Okay.
Just like the alien implant, same thing. So the second thing we will find is that the cells surrounding the biology, surrounding the implant itself, the object, I said, will not be native to that part of the body.
Okay.
I said, that's going to go against a lot of people, especially the pathologist here. Because when you see a splinter or some foreign object in the body, I don't care how it got there, these little cells surround themselves around it. And in the beginning, if it's like a splinter, the white blood cells will attack it and try to eat it, destroy it, and make it go away. If that doesn't work, the body will finally coat it and cover it with an inflammatory process. It's either chronic or acute. I said that will be present in every one of these foreign objects. I said it won't be in the alien implant. Okay. And so they're rattled by that. I said in our first implant we removed, or later I mentioned, the first implant was removed, there was a proteinaceous coagulum. The biology surrounding all of that was absolutely astounding. Nobody got that. In fact, the pathologist looked at the biologist. Well, that's just probably an inflammatory process due to chronic inflammation due to the object been in there for 25 years. I said, you're absolutely, I'm sure, completely right. I knew he was wrong. I said, so help me out here since I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. That's a bad joke.
I dreamed I was.
That's almost as good. Almost. So I said, would you look at the cells and tell me for sure so that I can be sure because you told me so. He looked at it and says, weird. This is a non-inflammatory process. I said, well, what kind of cells are those, doctor? He said, keratin.
Like your nails, hair?
Keratin is your hair, your nails, your surface skin. So how could that be?
A vestigial twin?
He said, where in the world did you get this? I said, around an object located deep next to the bone.
Wow.
That did not happen. Keratin is not deep inside the body. It's hair on the outside of the ear, skin, and nails. Get it? There is none. That didn't happen. I said, well, we had 17 witnesses, 2 doctors, me, the hypnotic anesthesia therapist. He said, I don't care if God was there. It didn't happen.
Well, maybe he had the app downloaded or something.
Maybe he was just stupid. I hate to say that, but it's true.
Yeah.
You have to look at the science. Whatever the science, that's it. It's keratin. That's all there is to it. And we have it on film.
Cool.
Being removed that part of the body next to the bone. So
are these any like the surgeries that?
This is a good example. This is me doing hypnotic anesthesia on a lady getting an implant removed from her leg.
Oh, nice.
And the next one, this is a guy that he claimed he had a military implant in his jaw, and that he was hearing voices in his head, and that was causing it. And I said, well, I've looked at his X-rays and looked him over pretty carefully. I did not believe his story, and he says, "Yeah, that's what happened." And I said, "Well, that sounds good, but I have a problem with it. And the problem is that you told me that you'd never had a previous surgery. I haven't." I said, "There's a clavicular screw in your clavicle.
Oh my God.
How do you suppose that got there?"
Wow.
Maybe the aliens. I said, "No, aliens don't use clavicular screws. Your doctor does, though."
So
I said, "That's probably an injury from football. Why didn't you lie to me and tell me you didn't have the previous surgery when you did?" I said, here's the bottom line for me. You lie to me, your case is over. We remove the object and so on. So I told the, go ahead and click on that again. I told the doctor wheeled him in there, 2 of them said, "We can't do anything with this guy. He's all scared and freaking out." And I said, "Well, what do you want to do?" And he says, "You have to understand doctors, they want the money.
yes.
They get paid for doing that." So I said, he said, "Use your magic on him." And I said, "Oh, okay." So I looked at the guy and said, "Do you want to do the surgery?" He said, "Yes." He said, "But I'm scared." I said, "But negates everything you just said. Do you want to do the surgery?" He said, "Yes." And I said, "Okay, look at me." Put my finger under his chin, lift his head up, like that.
Oh my gosh.
All of a sudden he was out cold, and that was it. They wheeled him into the room and finished the surgery.
I'm back. So I'm sitting here and this light starts flashing.
Look at your arm right now.
The light starts flashing and then the power goes out, not once, but the power goes out twice. It's not snowing. I mean, it's a little windy here, but power went out. So anyway, if you lose me again, let me turn back on my fire. I'm just sitting here and this light's going, whoa, whoa. And I'm like, here we go again, people. What is it with Dr. Derrel Sims? So I missed all that.
Well, I can tell you, Katie, we have probably just around 5 minutes or so to break. And so.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Derrel, I have a question for you on these implants as far as the uses. And I don't know if we were done with this, but I've heard, and I don't know that anybody knows, but what about tinnitus? And or ringing in the ears and implant.
Question.
I heard somebody told me, and I don't know that this person has anything, but he said if you have tinnitus, then you have an implant. And I'm like, what? And how could they know that? But there is, I've had tinnitus for decades, and sometimes it's much louder than others. And is there any relation, or do we know?
No, there is no known relation between tinnitus and implants at all. And
Interesting.
people
Good.
say stuff like, I have people come up to me and tell me all the time, well, you figure out what the implants are all about? I said, well, we're still working on it. Well, I'll tell you.
Yes.
I said, how many surgeries did you do
Yes.
recently? Well, none. Why did you know everything? How is it you guys know everything and I don't know anything?
Some people have connections.
But is there a difference? Can you have like a ringing in your ear at certain appropriate, like it's like beyond coincidental times and tinnitus? I mean, are there different phenomenon that's not tinnitus, that is just a buzz or a ring?
Yes.
What I mean, because I've actually gone to the ear, nose, and throat doctor to see if I had tinnitus, because it happens so often, and they're like, no, you don't have it. You have actually, for my age, I have better than average hearing, so it's not that. So what is that then? The buzz in the ear.
Sometimes ringing in the ear can be done from other things. If you go out and shoot a gun, as an example,
right?
Whoa, you should use earphones because you're going to have this ringing for a while. But ringing in the ears or noises like that can be caused from different things. One of the fascinating things we found early on back in the 1980s about abductees is, and it's on our questionnaire, have you ever heard voices or noises as you're drifting off to sleep? And the answer is, in many cases, yes. But I can't understand what they're saying. Now, one guy said, that's a fascinating thing. And I said, yeah, okay. Do you have any evidence for me? He said, yeah. I said, well, most psychologists or psychiatrists say that's in your head.
Right.
Well, it is because it's in my ear, but
it's in your
may
head.
not be in here.
Yeah.
And that's what do you mean? I said, well,
Like here.
In his case, he recorded the voice.
Oh, how?
He put a recorder up there, and that little tiny voice actually was recordable. So something actually was happening in his case.
Right.
Now that's interesting. I love it when people go one step beyond, so to speak,
Yes.
and literally check it out themselves. I like that.
I'm going to put them next time. Well, actually.
Well, I just wonder, when it comes to nefarious, let's say black access projects of these nefarious groups who may be experimenting with frequency sound technologies and that, could they have like perhaps tried to get patents and on sonic sound weapons? And is that what we're hearing? Frequency sound weapons and that? And can they, like you said, and that's a scary thought, if it's biological in nature and they can control, and I don't know who they are, whether it's aliens or our own government, can control your emotions, suicide, depression, fear, anger, and that's a weapon of war, right? If they can transmit those feelings, and instead of fighting a war with tanks and bullets and weapons, if they can just have everybody off themselves and that's the end of the war, that's scary. I mean,
it is for a fact. The interesting statement you're bringing up about sound, in my view, is that it can be used for all kinds of things. One of the big reasons that whales beats themselves and porpoises beats themselves is due to immediately, and it's provable now, that the subsonics and the work done by the Navy actually causes them to beat themselves in the water. That's the reason for the majority of those beachings.
And they study dolphins and whales. And didn't Cheryl Costa, I just heard that somebody was telling me that Cheryl Costa, like that was a position in the military's communication, right? So they did study these things.
Well, they originally they were doing it a long time ago. They were trying to get dolphins to carry bombs onto blow up a submarine, as an example.
Oh, that makes sense.
Later, they got to realizing these guys are smarter than we think. They could be used for other stuff.
Oh, wow.
Maybe carrying spying equipment or whatever on them next to a sub, and the sub would never notice. So,
wow, like homing pigeons.
The work's being done in that regard too. So subsonics, so you can cool with it, cut with it, heat with it, cook with it. You do all kinds of things with sound.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense that they would be doing who knows what with this technologies. So it makes me wonder. And I'm not one who studies or knows a lot about the alleged MyLab programs and that, but do you work with contactees that claim to be part of that MyLab program?
I have. The late Dr. Carla Turner and I were very good friends, and she would come to me and talk to me privately about MyLab cases. And I said, Candy, I love you like a sister, but I'm going to put my cop hat on here for a moment and my intelligence hat, and this is going to sting. She said, okay. And I said, let's give me one of your better cases. She told me about this woman that was taken out of her bed by 2 military guys, M16s and all that. And I said, okay, I'm 100%. Go ahead and tell me. So they took her to this underground base and all that. And I said, well, okay, cop hat on. Who in the world, and I used to be an MP, I would never head out to anybody's home in the middle of the night with an M16 to do anything to anybody. Whatever you're ordered to do it, I wouldn't do it anyway. I said, those are civilians. Number 2, even if someone were nefarious and did do that, what would you need an M16? I said, this lady that you're talking about, and I know her very well. I said, you could use harsh words and get her to do anything. She's a really nice lady. You don't need M16s, 250-pound guys and M16s to drag a woman up in the middle of the night in her nightgown down the street. And it's really interesting to me that right down the street, near the nearest sewer hole, basically, they take the lid off and you can go down like 900 stories or however many. That's a sewer tank. There's no underground base there. That's a sewer tank.
Right.
I said, so I'm having a problem with this right off the bat.
Right. All right.
I said, tell me what your real concern is. And then she wanted me to say, is there some way they can do psyops to protect themselves?
Right. It is break time. So we will get back to this. But before we get back to that too, we're going to play An Evening on Earth with an Extraterrestrial when we get back from the break. So we'll see you on the other side.
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
MUFON is the voice of thousands of like-minded people who want to see change. We speak up against UFO secrecy. We engage governments and agencies around the world on the topic. We share information with the public through our journal, website, newsletter, social media, and even our own TV channel. When you join MUFON, you add your voice to the cause. Few things are more important in our time than understanding the UFO question. Join MUFON. Find your friends.
Did you know 75% of Americans are chronically dehydrated? If you struggle with focus, run low on energy, or when it's time to finally sleep, you simply can't, this can all be linked to dehydration, and Fuel Up has the answer. Our proprietary formula contains the finest cellular hydration with the strongest immune-enhancing natural ingredients. The Fuel Up system is made up of 3 different incredibly tasting varieties. Wake kickstarts your day with a jolt of caffeine. Play boosts focus while hydrating your cells. Rest not only helps you relax, but also rejuvenates your cells while you sleep. Here's what our clients have to say.
I really don't miss my coffee, and you can tell the difference.
So I'm going to take it for the energy. I'm going to take it for the play. I'm going to take it, all day.
And it works. That's the thing. It works. We love it.
Take the Fuel Up Challenge now, where we offer a feel the difference money back guarantee. Fuel Up for life.
You're listening to the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. We provide unparalleled coverage of trending news in the world of ufology, cryptozoology, and paranormal phenomenon. Whether you're watching our video live stream or listening to one of our audio programs, you are getting the best from world-renowned researchers and hosts, guiding you through topics the mainstream won't touch. Miss one of your favorite programs? No problem. Head over to the members area at kgradb.com for access to our massive library of award-winning content. Make contact, stay connected, only at kgradb.com.
All right. I got it. Dancing. It's Tuesday. You have to dance on.
Fun What's Up Jive.
It's the What's Up Jive. That's right. All right. So let's play.
I'm sleeping on the job. There we go.
An evening on Earth with an extraterrestrial. All right. So you're meeting with who comes down. Where on Earth are you going to meet with this extraterrestrial, Derrel? I should ask Tara too, since she's right there on the hot seat.
Well, first of all, I have met with them before. Wasn't my choice, but
where did they take you?
Yeah, where did they take you?
Usually it's inside the craft for whatever they're going to do, and that wasn't particularly pleasant.
No,
but I'd like to take them out to my own location, and again, the only difference is if I abducted them, I probably wouldn't bring them back.
You'd keep them at home, yes.
I'm going to keep them in a refrigerator or something.
Oh, no. So where would you take them, though, for a nice dinner?
Well, if he probably eats ice cream or beans or whatever it is they thought back in 1947, I'd probably take him to the ice cream shop or something.
What's your favorite flavor of ice cream, Derrel?
My favorite of ice cream is going to be pecans, praline pecans.
Ooh, that's a good choice. Strong choice.
Oh, good.
Okay, what music would you like to introduce ET to? What kind of music?
Probably something that would be a little out of his range, so to speak, disconcerting, something really heavy metal or something really irritating to no end.
Ozzy Osbourne, Crazy Train, or so that's awesome.
I don't think he's going to get into Rachmaninoff or Franz Liszt or anything like that. I doubt that's going to happen.
That's great. Like throw him off his game. And let's see, what movie would you recommend he watch?
Oh, no question. I've got two movies I would want him to watch. First one, which I would laugh all the way through, would be ID4.
Oh, I haven't even heard of that before.
Independence
Day.
Remember that?
Yeah.
They lost.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
We'll be laughing at the end. And the second one I'd like to take him to would be War of the Worlds.
Okay.
The Tom Cruise version of it. I like it real
Tom
well.
Cruise. Yeah,
and
that
at
is.
the end, they lose. A microorganism destroys them. They forgot to plan on that.
What?
Do you think that? Yeah. Go ahead, Tara.
I was going to say, you'd think they would have known about that, the microorganisms.
Well, that really bugged them. There's no question about
it.
That's funny. And then what one question would you ask? You only get one.
Only got one question. I'm not sure they can answer the question because I don't think they have the answer. I think whoever made, has, cloned, or manufactured them has the answer. And the answer is, the question is, why are you lying?
Oh,
why are you?
I didn't see that coming.
No, they wouldn't. And they probably wouldn't have an answer for you because they don't have a clue. Because someone programmed them, in my opinion, they made, has, cloned, or programmed them and to do what they're doing. And that program is beyond them. They're just doing their job, whatever that is.
That's such an interesting perspective, honestly, because that makes me wonder then, do you believe, Derrel, that we're all programmed. I mean, from early on, we're watching the way life should be, what we're programmed, how we're supposed to be. Do you think all forms of life in the universe are programmed in certain ways to carry out certain agendas?
You use two words that I found interesting. One is, what do you believe, and what do you think? Those are really two very important concepts that are important investigations. As an investigator, belief should not be entering into 99% of your work, because I reserve beliefs, relegate beliefs for very powerful and life-changing, ultimate important things in my life. I do not want to change my beliefs tomorrow about alien, because I don't have any beliefs about them. I have information.
Right.
I have information. If it improves or I get better information, that can change. But my world beliefs and ultimate beliefs and all that, that's not going to happen. Right. So, but the next thing that you mentioned that I thought was really good was, what do you think? Now that's a totally different, that keeps you in safe ground right there.
Yeah.
You think is based on whatever other information you get is great, because that's what you're going to do and mention. That's good. I like that.
So what do you think? Do you think humans are programmed to carry out?
Of course you are. There was a movie a long time ago, which your listeners ought to go get it if you can. It's called Flowers from Algernon.
Oh, that's such a sad
In
movie.
it is
I haven't seen
this
it.
guy who is a moron basically gets this injection, and he becomes a ultra genius overnight.
Wow.
And he comes in front of all these scientists, and they're all asking these big, high-powered questions, the big questions scientists want to ask. And they asked him, what's the purpose of man and all that? And he said, a TV in every room.
A TV in every room, so
We all
you can
started
get
laughing.
programmed.
He said, well, what do you think the future is? He said, a TV in every room. You have a TV in every room and one in your pocket.
That's true. Everywhere we go.
That's called programming. A guy came on the Art Bell program many years ago, just before I did, and he was telling Art Bell about how dangerous these programs are. And Art said, well, I'm not sure about all that. And he said, no, he said, this stuff, video games and stuff we're putting out, this was an Apple guy. He said, this stuff is so dangerous, it's more addictive than cocaine. He said, well, I'm not so sure about that. He said, well, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm the designer. I know. He said, we're never going to be able to break this stuff when it gets out. He said, I wish we'd never done it.
Wow.
Too late now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Well, it's just the malleability of our brain, if that's the right way to say it. I mean, at any time we can say no, right? We can stop this. We don't have to be programmed. And the apps, the programming is probably part of our schooling too. It's not just about aliens. It's just we're all programmed to be in the society, to maintain in a certain way. And I just find it fascinating. I kind of to what we were talking about, who's doing all this programming. And, obviously there's alien apps. Are there government apps? And we were kind of talking during the break a little bit, and maybe you can speak on this too about,
I can give you one hardcore one right off the bat.
Okay.
This is not conspiracy. I'm not going to get into all that, but I'll give you a short version of one of the most important apps that ever came out recently. It's called COVID.
COVID?
COVID? You think it's...
I assure you, the Red Chinese and our government were studying that with other governments more than anything. I understand it's a disease. You're missing the point. The point is, how programmable are people? You had people in the United States breaking the Constitution of the United States in violation of total constitutional laws, obeying, and all people had to do is say, you have to wear a mask. You have to stand 6 feet apart. They asked Dr. Fauci a while back, why do they have to stand 6 feet apart? He said, I don't know. We just thought it was a good distance. They didn't have a clue. It doesn't matter. That wasn't the point.
Oh, God.
Besides the disease, they were studying the effects on humans. So when you're talking about apps and what can it do, that's an excellent, good one. But the other question that you asked that I thought was really good, Tara, was does the military abduct people?
Yeah, if they're is it the aliens or the military, and what are the military doing with these
ask
people?
Bin Laden how that works out.
Yeah, well, we obviously, and you had a good point. Obviously the criminals, or we say criminals, whoever our government identifies as our enemy, whatever. But I'm just thinking about normal everyday people as well. So,
well, I get a lot, believe it or not, emails and things like that from people, and they say, the government's taking me, they're doing this, they're doing all these weird things to me. I'm getting stalked all the time. I mean, it just goes on. And once they get your attention, that you can't even get, you're not even believe the amount of stuff they're going to tell you. And I said, okay. I said, some basic questions for you. I have all this evidence. I was in the CIA. I have a top secret clearance and all these different things. Why are they not taking me? But they're taking you, and you have nothing.
mm-hmm.
What do you think the government needs to spend millions and millions of dollars and thousands of man hours to gang stalk and watch you for no reason? Don't you think they ought to be spending their money on terrorists or somebody else a little more important than you? I said, you're not making any sense. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I'm just saying it ain't making sense.
Right. To that end, Derrel, if there's certain lineage or family lines or individuals that are being, I'll use the word targeted for study or whatever their motives may be, meaning those people out there, are they looking for certain types of people? And if so, what have you noticed? Are they more creative? Are they more open-minded? On and on. What have you noticed in all your years of study on this?
Well, primarily you have three different kinds of people that are being taken. The first kinds that are being taken are people who they don't know this, of course, in the beginning, but the alien gets it. But the people don't get it until later they find out that, oh, I'm a contactee. How did you arrive at that conclusion?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. So basically, you think they're here to save the planet, fix those on hold, or whatever they're doing is for your best and highest good.
Contactee is positive more than negative, right?
And the other group of people are people like me, or abductees, which means I was kidnapped.
Right.
When somebody comes in your house, they take you away. That's not called alien happiness. It's called kidnapping. Right. I was a kid. They kidnapped me. So they got me. So whether I like it or not, it's still kidnapping. I mean, look, I was a police officer, and when I worked kidnapping cases, because I have this all the time, people come to me all the time and say, Derrel, you just don't understand. They were taking you for your best and highest good. I said, listen to me carefully, since you weren't there and I was. I said, it's interesting to me that whenever I handle kidnapping cases, I never have a parent come to me after I bring their child back to them, especially unharmed. Right. Derrel, there are good kidnappers out there and bad kidnappers.
Yeah.
Why are you so mean to these kidnappers?
That's,
good point.
I said, because if he's got a bald head, big eyes, and looks like an alien, so to speak, he gets a pass.
He's cute.
But if he's looks like a human being, and he's got little stripes on his t-shirt, and he takes your kid, he's evil. Oh, look at that. You could be one of them. Why did they get a pass? Because they're aliens, and you don't if you're human. Yeah. Why is that?
Because we don't know, maybe.
Because I think what it is it's such a horrific, terrifying thought that in our psyches, you almost have to put a positive spin on it to even begin to make any kind of sense with it at all.
It helps, sure.
Yeah. It's sort of like believing in something after we're gone, right? We want to believe that our soul and our spirits continue on afterwards, and it comforts us in a way. And I would believe that's true in this as well. We have to make some sense out of this happened for a reason, and it has to be good, like saving the planet or whatever. And it just helps process and get through it.
The problem I have with that position is that what if that weren't true?
Right. Might not be.
What if what they were doing was something different, but the screen memory or the good memory or the false memory given to us was that we're saving your planet and fixing the ozone hole and all these wonderful things for you.
Right.
And that wasn't the case at all.
Right. Hence your question, why are you lying to us?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, and so Derrel, in your experience, I read your books, and we've got you guys. Make sure you get his wonderful books.
What?
The Alien Hunter
What?
book.
Oh,
And she got hers signed. Lucky.
Yes, I do got them signed. But maybe you can talk if you want to about your experience a little bit. It seemed to me that there was handlers. Oh, there's aliens that may be doing something, and they're being handled by somebody else, perhaps. But what I was interested about your senses and how you kind of knew what was happening. They kind of maybe messed up, and you weren't fully screen memory or whatever it is. But you talked about your senses and that the boss was, or somebody was telling somebody else what to do, and you knew what they were going to do to you. And that to me is what's terribly frightening. And again, how, as a young child, were you able to get through that?
That's one of the best questions ever been asked of me. And most people do not ask that. And I don't know. Anyway, it's a great question because what happened when I was a child is that when the being came in the room, the very first thing I saw him, of course, standing there looking at me, skinny little guy with big black eyes, so perfectly round. And I looked at his stunning eyes down to his nose, little pinpoint holes in his face where there was a nose, slit for a mouth, and went down, skinny little neck, and went down. He didn't have any mammary glands. He didn't have a belly button. He didn't have a TT. He didn't have any clothes on. It's wintertime. You should be, I'm freezing to death. Why are you not freezing to death? What are you doing? Wandering around out in the dark with no clothes on. And I couldn't understand that at age 4. What's wrong with him? I mean, if we're like similar, what's wrong with this picture? Now, when I became an adult, I thought differently. And when I became an investigator, I realized, well, he doesn't have, when you look at those nose, those little ear holes and things, that's something else. There's something else going on there.
Mm.
Why none of these? Because he doesn't procreate. He doesn't have a belly button because he wasn't born. He was hatched, cloned, made, or manufactured. Oh, well, and the big question is, who did that?
Right.
Now you're getting into UFO work, in my opinion.
Yeah, right.
But the question is, back to the original question, how did you learn? When I was abducted by him under his control, so to speak, that part of me was completely available to him and was getting suggestions from him from time to time, such as he wanted me to see this huge, big face of a clown, and he wanted me to believe that that he was a clown, and that was going to be my screen memory. I had a bad dream, in other words. Well, I didn't. I kept shaking my head no. And what I did during that time, I learned how, probably accidentally, how to keep myself abducted under his control, and like a left and a right brain. And the other part of the brain was able to stay unabducted.
Wow.
And okay, and let me put this in terms of a lot of abductees will understand, or contactees. When they're talking to you, voice to skull, you hear them. Well, at some point in your contact experience, they shut you off and they do whatever they're going to do. You don't hear them anymore. That's it. It's over.
It's like you're put under. Yeah.
Yeah. They put you under, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I was able to still hear them. Well, the abducted part over here, they thought was under their control. It is, but the other part isn't. And now I'm listening to you think.
Oh my gosh.
I can hear you. You're talking about stuff. It's not what you told me. It's okay. You'll be all right. We're here to help you. We're saving whatever the offer is they told you. What I'm hearing him talk to the other guy about ain't the same thing.
Ah.
That's why I learned so much about the aliens.
And did you learn really what their agenda is? Did you get any clues in their conversation when they thought you were out?
She's asking about the agenda now. Okay. Well, we did in an event in 1992. There was a mass abduction that happened in Houston, Texas, and in Florida. And these are 8 of my abductees were taken in a mass abduction December 11th, 1992, and December 8th, 19. It's a double mass abduction. They came and got them 3
Did
times.
you say December 11th or November 11th?
December 8th and December 11th, 1992.
December 8th. Okay.
Those 2 different nights. The very short version of this, there's more evidence in this case than we had in all our cases put together.
Mm.
The remarkable thing, people ask the question, well, why did that happen? I said, I'm an investigator. Yeah, we know that. No, you're missing the whole point. I hunt them that hunted me and later hunted my son.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what your whopper is. I don't care what your story is. I don't care if you're here to say Planet Pigs on. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what you're really doing, because I've been hearing what you've been saying in my 10 abductions for 13 years. I've been hearing a totally different story than you've been telling abductees. I hear what you got. You've heard this conversation recently on the TV. Oh my God, the hot mic was on and he got caught.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That's what happened. It was a hot mic. The alien didn't know I was listening.
Right.
That's the point. So what I did was concoct a program based on my knowledge. I mean, I'm ex-intelligentsia, XCI. What do you think I'm going to do? Well, I'm going to develop a psyop on you, of course.
Right.
You're so smart.
No,
Wow.
it's just
Seriously.
business as usual.
It's a game of chess. It's a game of chess.
And it worked.
Wow.
It just worked. And so they abducted one of my abductees. And anyway, long story short is simply that they picked all of my abductees up, all 8 of them, on that first night, and took them in small ships to a massive craft that was 600 miles across, 50 miles thick.
Oh,
And someone said, well, why would they need a ship that big? I said, if you don't live on a planet,
you need a ship that big.
why you don't need a planet, because you can drag this thing around anywhere you want. What would you? I said, if you were biomechanical, what would you want a planet for anyway?
More aluminum to fix your jeans.
Yeah, aluminum to fix your jeans. That's what I'm thinking. I like that.
My crazy mind goes to I'm thinking of large cruise ships. I'm thinking, do they have a casino in there? Do they have a movie theater, like putt-putt golf? What's going on? What do they do for entertainment? Putt-putt golf.
That was funny.
This is woo. Okay, go ahead.
So anyway, there were 3 questions. Okay, here's the underscore news story of the day. Here's the headliner. They brought my senior investigator into this big room. The reason they brought him in there is because they thought if he was my senior investigator, and they like him, by the way, that he would know everything that I did.
Mm.
And the person, the guy that's doing the interview is not them. He's someone else. He's what I call mid-level management, way above the alien. There's a lineup in front of him, in front of his big chair. The little gray alien, another entity, the doctor alien, the Nordic, Bigfoot. Yeah, all of them are lined up, a reptile, all of them. And the guy sitting in the big chair, when he asks a question, all of those guys, when he asks a question, you better answer it. Their society is not like ours. Quid pro quo. It's not like that. You ask the question, and if you don't answer the question the way they want it answered, they might ask you to step outside and take a fresh breath of air. You won't last very long out there in space.
You're talking the workers on these.
They're terrified of the boss, who these bosses are terrified of. All of the entities. In fact, he asked Dale right off the bat, the big guy sitting in the chair, said, "Why did he do this?" Speaking of me. And Dale was floored. He said, the thing about it, when they speak and everything, all the information becomes available to you instantly. To everybody knows everything at that point.
Cool.
And he said, I realized what you had done. And he said, I told him, I don't know. He said, the guy sitting in the chair was furious. He said, the Nordic that was standing there, 6'6" Nordic, got nervous and walked over to me and put his forehead on my forehead and his hands on the side and looked deep into my eyes with those big, beautiful blue eyes of his.
Wow. And
looked back at the big guy sitting in the chair and said, he doesn't know. And the guy cooled off.
Wow.
He couldn't figure out why what I not tell Dale. And Dale asked the same question. Why did you not tell me what you're doing? That's your abductee. You're going to tell them everything. He said, of course I would. I said, that's why I didn't tell you, Dale. It's a psyop. They're not going to get to know.
Wouldn't they just naturally know the truth? I mean, you really can't lie, correct?
No, they didn't know. They didn't know they had not accessed me. They had accessed people who were victims, my abductees. So they thought somebody in that pile should know the big one.
Gotcha.
But beside all of that, 3 big questions came out in 2 rooms. There were 2 big chairs, 2 big guys there asking these questions. 1 of the lady I programmed and 2 of Dale, because they were sure he would know that information. And 3 questions came out. Now this is really super important stuff. First question. He produced a holographic image of a human brain in both rooms to the guy and the girl, Dale and the lady. And they asked 2 questions, 2 separate questions, 1 in each room. Point to the human soul.
Oh, interesting.
In the other room, human spirit. Where is it?
Oh.
They didn't know.
Right.
And they're the guys in charge.
And that's maybe what they're trying to find from us. Are they trying to figure that out? Are they soul stealers?
The third question they asked was a military question, an intelligence question. What is Project Prometheus? They apparently had abducted someone in the intelligence realm, and he freaked or whatever, or they mimicked, like, I'm your commanding officer, tell me about Project Prometheus. And he did. He told him. I thought it was commanding officer, and it wasn't. It was an alien.
What is Project Prometheus?
Tell me now.
Yeah,
I don't know about Project Prometheus.
I saw the movie.
Oh, that's funny. I'm doing my show here.
Oh, God.
Look, I'll tell the jokes here. Anyway, the bottom line was Project Prometheus was a secret government project. As you know, Prometheus was in the mythology was half a demagogue that stole fire from the gods to give to man, so that mankind could, help him out and all that. Sounds great. The only problem is when the government tells you, when I say the government, I mean the intelligence community, when they tell you they're going to Project Prometheus you, they're not stealing fire from those gods to give to you. They're stealing the fire to give to themselves.
I have control of the fire. Bam.
And they're stealing your soul? What are they trying to take? I know it's a stupid question, but
there's no stupid question.
Extremely important question.
Right.
That's why I'm pitching here.
Oh my gosh, because it seems to me that that's what they're missing.
A soul?
Yeah, perhaps. Maybe. I don't know.
The alien is irrelevant in that question. The people that were asking the question wanted to know that. The alien doesn't have a clue, doesn't care, isn't interested. They're only interested in their survival.
So Tara, put that line up again, because I want to ask Derrel then a couple questions about this. So do some of these basic alien types have souls and others don't? Question number 1. Question number 2 is the Bigfoot or Sasquatch. What is their role? Are they workers? Are they bodyguards? Are they what? I mean, do we know if some of these are soulless or if some of them do have souls?
Well, I think it's important to not the word soul. I think from our viewpoint, that from that question, the way it's stated, suggests like a generic soul, so to speak, to everybody. So everybody got. If you're alive, do you have one, so to speak?
Right.
In my opinion, based on everything I know, what they're looking for is not that.
Oh.
What they're looking for is something else. Okay, someone asked me to get specific about that one time, and I said, okay. I said, there's a biblical statement in the book of Proverbs. It's absolutely, it's several times in the Bible. It's mentioned, really remarkable. And it says, you were created wonderfully. I said, the only people that don't know that are some of your scientists are so stupid they would call you pond scum. You're barely higher than pond scum. I said, if that's true, somebody came a long, long, long way to look at pond scum. I assure you, they did not waste their time. They're here for a reason. And the alien is not the issue. They never have been. They're just doing whatever they're told by someone else who is interested in this concept. And the concept they're interested in is you, not them.
Individuality?
All of you.
Because they're the same?
You have something that they don't and can't get. What do you think they're looking for it?
Creativity, maybe, perhaps.
Well, that's a side effect. That's a descriptor. There's something else. There's a reason they're after all of that. And the last thing that we found out in that same event was, and I told you they like Dale, and I mean, they really do. He's really remarkable. He's an interesting character. And they said he looked on the wall just before they took him away. And on the wall, there was this big picture. It looked like, he said, it looked like Indianapolis 500. He said, like a giant roadway map, but it was three-dimensional.
Oh.
I said, what was interesting about that? He said, I asked the Nordic, what is that? He said, that's our contact with you.
Oh.
He said, what do you mean? And there was one little section about that big, is about 100-year span. That was still like white, different colored than the roadway. He said, all that roadway is already finished. He said, we're in the last section. He said, what do you mean? He said, when that's finished, this whole program's over. And Dale said, he said, that little span was about 100 years, but we didn't know where we're in the middle of it, front of it, or we didn't know. And the bottom line is, Dale, very smart, very sharp. He multiplies that 100-year span all the way around the whole thing as best he could. He said it appeared to be about 6,000 years.
I was going to say, do they follow you through past lives? I mean,
this was about a 6,000-year span of time, and we're in the last 100 years. And he told Dale something remarkable. He looked at him and said, "It failed.
It failed.
It failed.
Our program didn't work. What they wanted didn't happen."
Is that program, are they talking about humanity or for this Dale's personal life?
No, all of us.
Okay.
All of us.
He said it failed. So somebody said, well, what does that mean? I said, well, from a logical point of view, if logic plays any part here, logic is not truth. It's just a system of information that's useful. I said, if that's true, I said, it means we're going to do something else is going to happen.
Well, isn't that about the time span of like the pyramids and stuff? I mean, we go back about that kind of modern history. It goes back a little bit further, but I mean, do you think that they had a play in where we're at modern humans now? Or I wonder if they've been here. I mean, because if it was 6,000 years, they were here in our past and all this stuff.
Well, it boils down to who are they? Who are the ones that are calling the shots, so to speak? And if that information is available to us, in fact, one PhD asked me one day, he said, no, wait a minute. If the aliens have been hatched, cloned, made, and manufactured, who did that and for what purpose? And what does that mean? And I said, well, if all that's true. And I said, it's going to be real difficult. People wrap their heads around it because they've been so involved in quote unquote the alien and abduction or whatever that means that that no one's ever asked the question like, why are you here? Why are you doing what you're doing? What is happening here? And we've been so busy with that, we've totally ignored that we're looking at side effects of some of the things they're doing, making assumptions. That's what it's all about because that's what they're doing. I said, if I were running a PsyOps program, you'd never know what it was we were doing. Yeah. You'd be getting all this other stuff like implants, abductions, ringing voices and things in your head. You'd never get to know what the truth was. I'd never let you know.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's hard to know. I mean, obviously we have no clue as to what any given species motivation is and what their agenda is. I mean, there's no way to know, but it sounds to me like you said they like this person. So do they have a sense of humor? And it sounds like they can like certain individuals and not like others. And
well, that's another thing we found out in our research since the 80s. There are certain abductees, very rare. This is a very rare occurrence. There are certain abductees that absolutely despise, fear, or hate.
Huh.
It's very rare. There are only a handful of them I've ever found of all the tens of thousands.
And how do they know that? Do they just say, we don't like you? Like,
they usually, when you're a kid, when you work with them, they cry and everything and said, you know, I did everything they told me to do, everything, and they don't like me, they hate me. The little kid crying, you know, I did everything, you know, it doesn't matter. They understand something about you don't know about yourself.
Oh, they can see your soul. They could see your soul, perhaps, and maybe if
they see enough that it's troubling to them because it's upsetting to their plan.
And so they don't know this ahead of time before they abduct you.
So if in my opinion, they do, and that's just my opinion. And the reason I know that to be true is because I'm one of them.
Right, that's true.
And
you would know
that is one of the reasons that things went so badly in my events. And but I was not the only one. My son was another one. Several people I've met in this phenomena have had beyond horrific events. And it's not just because they thought the alien was bad, they didn't like them. Right. It wasn't based on that. It was based on the fact that there was something inherently evil and that they were singled out, literally gang stalked by the alien, if you like, at that point. And as kids, when you're growing up, you just don't understand any of this. If the alien's here to help us and everything or whatever, why don't they treat me like they did you?
Right.
Why don't they pat me on the head and say, that's really wonderful. You're a nice little human, whatever. Do something radically different.
It would make sense to me, though, Derrel, that they would want to study all, whether you judge somebody good, bad, or whatever is based on opinion and perspective and all that, right? There's good in everybody. There's not so good in everybody. But it would seem to me that they would want to abduct people across the board, right?
Well, if they weren't looking for anything specific, that would be okay. If they're looking for something very specific, they would be after certain people.
Right.
Certain lineages.
And in this questionnaire that you've created, what are some of the commonalities that you're looking for within that? Maybe you don't want to say because you don't want people to just pick them up.
Some of the things we've found is that 45% of them will be Native American, Indian, Irish, Celtic, Scottish. I rarely say this other stat, but another group of them are going to be ready for this. The Basque of northern Spain.
Interesting.
And it's fascinating stuff.
Is that the RH negative, the Basque?
They're actually they're really The majority of abductees, believe it or not, and we've had stem cell specialists and others look at this for us. The majority of abductees that are taken are the same blood type I am, O negative.
Oh, yeah.
O positive. Everybody always says, in fact, we had a stem cell specialist come do a presentation at the Houston UFO Network for me. And I told her, I said, there's a guy that he thinks he knows everything. He bones up on every speaker and he'll come for you. I said, handle him any way you want. And she says, okay. And he right off the bat, he says, she starts doing blood antigens and so on. And he says, well, I don't know all about that. I said, all right, it's negative. She said, shut up. Who do you think you are? Well, I've said, you don't know anything. I'm a stem cell specialist at this hospital, blah, 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 and so on. And she said, well, I think she says, but Mr. Sims, when he tells me something, I listen to it. I have no idea who you are, but I can tell you right now, you don't have a clue about anything. Mm-hmm. Well, but I would thought the right thing. He said, shut up. You're interrupting my presentation. Mm. She said, but just for you, I'm going to make an exception. She pulls up this chart of RH negative. So there are 52 different kinds. Which one do you think you are, Mr.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Really? I did not know that.
You see the little 0.0001 or whatever on there at the bottom of some of these? That means there may be hundreds more we don't know yet.
Oh, wow.
Says you don't have a clue about anything. Shut up. When Mr. Sims finds something about the blood we need to know about, I'll ask him. I won't be calling you.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's Derrel, part of the programming from the aliens, I just think it's important to bring up because of the state of the world that our world is in right now. But part of the biggest programming that I really related to from reading your book and just talking to you is the program that you are alone and that, you have to deal with everything alone. And even though you can consciously say, I am not alone and I am okay and stuff, but it feels like you're alone. The situation, the experience, no one else can understand it. It's the programming. And I think that it's surprising to me to realize that that's the programming. It might be. And so I'm wondering if you could talk to everybody about
Absolutely.
that. It's important.
Tara, you really struck a major nerve. This is an app that's downloaded into many abductees. At the beginning of most conferences I speak, how many of you have seen a UFO? And all these people, yay, their hands go up. How many of you came back with an artifact? And less hands come up. How many of you, and I get real specific and said, so now, how many of you, regardless of the fact your parents loved, cared for you, and nurtured you, and did everything in the world for you, fed you, clothed you, and everything all your life,
or not,
know the fact that they're not your parents?
Ah.
And some of these hands come up. I say, even though you genetically prove they are, you know they're not, and the hands still keep coming up.
Okay.
How many of you people out there feel 100%, regardless of the fact you've been loved, cared for, and everything else, you're all alone? And I mean, the hands just come up.
Yeah.
Why? And my wife asked me one time after I did this presentation, she says, do you feel alone?
Oh, probably surprised her.
I said, well, of course, sweetie. Always have been.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like best friends. She started crying.
Oh,
yeah.
It's nothing you can do. It's not your fault. It has nothing to do with you.
That's right.
It's a program that's running inside me that somebody else installed. It ain't me and you. It's not about me and you. Mm-hmm. It's about me being all alone. I said, that's the program. And I said, you have to understand these are apps that are downloaded in us. They're invisible implants, if you want to call them. That's what I call them. These are extremely damaging to people. Mm-hmm. And people absolutely don't know. They don't know why do I feel that way? My parents love me. I love my parents.
It just doesn't make sense.
It just we have a lot of these apps we ask about. We don't call them that, of course, on our questionnaire, but we have these. It's embedded in our questionnaire, and you can see one of the questions we ask, which we don't. I don't like talking about this because people are going to get a psychologist It's a wrong idea about this. They'll
Thank you.
not go well.
Cool.
One of the questions we have on here: have you ever had suicidal or thoughts hurt yourself, and they weren't yours?
It's odd that you say and they weren't yours.
They were not your thoughts. And you'd be surprised how many answers people come back with yes.
Something.
They knew it, not their thoughts, and they were not. They're not suicidal. They're not demented. They're not. These are not people with a psychopathology that needs to be studied. They don't know where that comes from.
Do you think that it might be to control? You know, if you feel alone, you're more susceptible to suggestion, perhaps, or can you be controlled?
Okay, let's study I tell abductees who ask me this, why do I feel? I said, listen to me carefully. I said, I'm going to tell you the great truth. Pay attention, because you're not going to hear this again somewhere. The bottom line is simply this. You hear it? Are you listening?
I'm listening.
Here it is.
Okay.
The bottom line is that there's a difference between being all alone and lonely. I said, it's not the same thing.
Right.
That's number
Right.
one. I said, number two, I said, many of us we've got all kinds of wonderful people around us. That's important. It's good for mental health and every other reason. We need that. But the fact is, I said, the feeling for you when you experience this app is, I'm alone, I'm by myself. That's true. That's the app. What is the aliens version of that? That's what you need to know.
Right.
Not what happened to you, but what's the alien's version? His version is totally different. It's isolation. They want you isolated.
It is isolated.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So
and I think a lot of these folks battle that, wake up every morning and fight a new day, battle through all those, that programming.
It takes diligence to,
and it gets exhausting.
it is exhausting.
Yeah. Especially like you said, Tara, the state of the world right now. And unfortunately there's a lot of people that lose that fight and just feel so alone. So if you're feeling that way, reach out and get help for anybody out there that's feeling that way.
Get a friend.
And tell people you love them if you care about them. Every chance you get, because you never know.
Hug people.
Yes.
I hug people all the time, and men, of course, they'll stand there like bricks. And, and if they do hug you, they'll pat you on the back. And I said, yeah, I don't need to be burped. You can actually. It's okay. It's all right to be loved. I don't mind that. It's okay. So
right. Aw. So Derrel, I don't know how much time we have left here, maybe 10 minutes or so, but I hear that you're speaking in September at Wright-Patt Air Force Base. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ray Szymanski is hosting a wonderful UFO event on September 20th through 22nd in Wright-Patt on Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Cool.
The commander of the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is doing an opening presentation for us.
Oh, that is awesome.
Ray did something really big here. This is really, really, really
the
cool.
Big cheese, huh?
Yeah. It's cheddar.
Big cheddar.
Yeah, before it was provolone.
He's sharp.
Now, oh, that's funny.
Where can we find information about this? Do you know? I mean,
on your website?
No, they have. It'll be up on our website in time for sure. But they're putting up their own website, and when it's available, I will send it to you immediately.
All right, and I'll share it with all our viewers out here, so we can.
They're good folks, and we love them. They're good people. Absolutely.
Great.
Right. And let's talk about your books one more time. If you want to hold those up one by one, or we could put up the graphic there, Tara. Alien Hunter, the Evidence in Light. Okay. Patricia Gray.
I wrote the books. They're not books for entertainment. I did not write them for that purpose. I wrote them because people are screaming, "When are you going to write a book?" I said, I don't want to. The point of the book is to find evidence. It shows you how I found evidence and how you can find it. That's the point of that book, Alien Hunter, Evidence in Light.
And what's What's the very basics you recommend for somebody who might be experiencing contact? What are some simple things they can do to maybe, test that?
If I were them, I would not read 10,000. Go out and read 10,000 books about aliens and all that. It's just gonna. You're opening Pandora's box, and you're just really you're just feeding a bunch of stuff. It's just stupid. The best thing that can happen to people, in my opinion, is to get involved with a support group that is one of the following things: a support group. When we had one in Houston, one lady came in and she started screaming that we're all stupid and everything, that the aliens here to say the planet fixed on all. I said, lady, we don't care what your view is. We're here for support. We're not here to attack or flame anybody because they have a different point of view. We don't care about that. We care about you. And if you don't want to play ball with that, you can leave.
Right. We're here to give hugs and burps.
Hugs and burps.
That's it.
Hugs and burps.
I can do both.
Have you burped an alien lately?
That's Christian Hurd. He wished he had burped.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, that's cool.
I like the reflection in the alien eyes of the human. That's a really cool graphic right there.
That's my face looking under the bed at him.
Oh.
It's a little bad humor here.
Oh, yeah. But
the alien, that's about evidence. That's how to find evidence in your own case.
And it works.
Especially if you're a wonderful person who's having these awful events or good events, whatever you want to call them. This shows you how to kind of verify your own case. Started using a black light. Discovered this in 1992, how to find evidence. The other book is strictly about much more about alien implants and what we actually found, what we didn't find, what the truth of it is. A lot of the stuff on implants out there on the internet, absolutely a waste of time. I mean, there's so much false stuff. I said, I don't understand you people. I said, lady told me, she came to me at a conference. It's really funny. She came in, she had this big moo on. It must have been a $400 dress. And she says, this is 1989. As a San Francisco, and she says, and I had this big presentation thing up in my booth that alien implants, all that. And she says, she stops, her moo keeps moving. It's really cool. She says, doing all that. And I said, what? She says, you have alien implants. And I go, what? What did I do? I took a bath. She says, what do you? I said, what do you mean? She said, you have astral implants. I said, I use preparation H. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, no.
And she said, that's not very funny. I said, I think it's extremely funny because you're not being very sane here yourself. And anyway, we actually became friends, but she said, I remove astral implants. And I said, okay, how many do I have? She said, 10. I said, okay, good. Now, if I pay, how much does it cost? $50 a piece. That's $500. I said, so if we get them removed, well, I know they're gone. She said, no. I said, why in the world would I pay you for something that I can't even know it happens or doesn't
I'll
happen?
do it for $20. Yeah.
Really?
That's a racket. What a deal. What a deal. Take that and run.
We have raspberry, strawberry, and all kinds of flavors.
Oh.
Really, I've met everybody in the world out there. You can't even imagine the people I've met that know infinitely more about implants than I'll ever know. And they've never been involved in any research whatsoever.
With only a couple minutes left, do you think we'll ever know the truth of what's really going on here?
Of course, I'll tell you in a couple of weeks.
Oh, good.
I'll tell you in a couple of weeks.
We should have started with that.
The fact is, we have to change our approach, in my opinion. And maybe we'll do another presentation sometime. I'll tell you about the 7 different hats I use. When people ask a question, my head automatically goes down each of those 7 hats that I wear.
Oh, interesting.
And it has to pick out which hat I have to answer you, because if I answer you with the wrong hat, you're not going to like it.
Okay. You know what? Let's make that fun. You tell me before the show what hats, and I'll get graphics of all the hats, and we'll go through each hat one by one. That sounds like a great show.
You'll love it. You'll
Yeah.
love it. I'll tell you what, it'll open your eye because you realize that there are all kinds of ways to look at this that we've never considered.
I would love to do a show like that. Yeah.
Perceptions, and they don't all agree with each other, but they're
Right.
all different views that I have about this phenomenon.
Well, and
I would.
yeah, in anything in life, you really need to get on the other side of it, take your view and try to find that opposite view just to get a bigger perspective.
That's right.
Always get on the other side of it, and it may give you some enlightenment. So.
That's really, really a good advice, Tara. And I want to thank you, Derrel, for spending this time with us. I hope you guys go have a great barbecue and enjoy chit-chatting and have a wonderful rest of your day and evening. And also, thank you, Bill Skywatcher, for being here. Chanel, we miss you.
Yes.
Yep. And I hope Shane gets better soon. And we will be back with you shortly. And you guys all enjoy the rest of your week. And thanks so much again for being here. And be sure to check out KGRA and all their great content. So again, have a great rest of your night, guys. And we'll see you next week right here.
Thanks, Derrel.
Yep.
Very fun.
Thank you. Awesome.